I recently watched Puss in Boots for the first time and I rather enjoyed it. I was looking forward to watching the second film, and annoyingly, I'm pretty sure this was on Netflix a few weeks ago. I could be wrong, but I'm so sure it was, and I went to watch it and it's no longer there, so I had to pay for it. I rented it, and I'm pleased to say it was probably worth the money. This was released in 2022. The full title is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and this is directed by Joel Crawford and Manuel Mercado. I apologise if I've mispronounced that. And it's written by quite a few people, namely Paul Fisher and Tommy Swerdlow. We also have a story by Swerdlow and Tom Wheeler with a voice cast including Antonio Banderas, Salma Hayek, Harvey, Guillén, Florence, Pugh, Olivia Colman, Ray Winstone. Needless to say, solid voice cast. It's not as good as the previous film, but sequels often aren't, so I'm not too bothered about that. This one involves Puss in Boots going to find the wishing star so that he can wish for 9 more lives because he thinks he's on his last life. Cats, of course, having 9 lives in theory. And he's actually prompted by Goldilocks and the 3 bears, and he goes on this quest with Kitty and a character called Perrito, who is absolutely adorable. I'm getting kind of donkey vibes from Perrito. Up until this point, apart from the whole nursery rhyme, fairy story characters, Puss in Boots didn't feel too much like Shrek. There were definitely times when it felt like they were part of the same world, but Perrito really felt like Donkey as a character, and I really thoroughly enjoyed that. And the story itself is well written. The pacing is generally very good. The quest that they're going on to find this wishing star I really liked. Of course, there are obstacles along the way that the characters have to overcome. And in general, I think the story is well written. As I said, I didn't personally think it was as good as the previous film, but I wasn't too bothered about that. I still thought it was a decent experience. The characters are likeable. Kitty, of course, is great, but Perrito, I think, is absolutely fabulous. And we have a lot of references to other nursery characters and things. So, in general, it's a fun story. Really liked it. No real issues. We also have a subplot revolving around Goldilocks and her desire for a human family, and whether or not she fits in with the 3 bears, and also how they think of her and whether they think of her as family. And I liked that part of it. I thought that worked very, very well. There's one point when the narrative gets quite dark. I won't say what happens, but it's something that Puss comes up against, and it does get quite dark. I'd say darker than any moment in any of the Shrek films, which I thought was quite fascinating. But I won't spoil it. I won't go into any more detail than that. There's nothing about it that didn't work. The animation is great, the characters are great, the narrative works well. Maybe not quite as good as the first film, but nevertheless, I thought Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was enjoyable. I don't mind having spent the money renting it. It also has 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb across 207,000 reviews and ratings, with a Metascore of 73. For any film, that's brilliant. For a sequel, that's pretty phenomenal. So, needless to say, it's well received. I enjoyed it. If you saw the first Puss in Boots film and liked it, I'd say give this a watch. If you didn't like the first Puss in Boots, you might enjoy this still. The story's obviously different with some other characters, but unless you really hated the first film, I'd say it might be worth checking out. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was an enjoyable experience, and I'm definitely happy to recommend it.